Ask most Britons what wealth looks like, and they'll picture something shiny: a German saloon sitting on the driveway, a converted barn somewhere deep in the home counties, a postcode that makes people raise an eyebrow at a dinner party. But real wealth isn't a car, and it isn't a house. Real wealth is a measure of two things: time and resilience. It's how long you could keep the lights on if your income stopped tomorrow, and how hard a shock has to hit before it knocks you clean off course. Today, we're breaking down what life actually looks like at 5 distinct net worth levels here in the UK. We'll travel from the survival zone all the way up to total freedom, and somewhere on this ladder, you're going to recognize yourself. The only real question is whether the rung above you is closer than you think. Level 1. Negative to zero, the survival zone. This is life lived one payday at a time. At this level, your net worth is a flat zero, or worse, it's a minus number, because the overdraft and the credit card owe more than you own. And the defining feature here isn't the lack of money, it's what psychologists call the scarcity brain. When you're in the survival zone, your mind is permanently running background calculations. You stand in the aisle doing silent mental math. Can I actually afford this grocery shop, or do I put something back? You feel your stomach drop when an unexpected text from your energy supplier lands. And in Britain, that pressure is brutal, because our fixed costs are relentless. The rent goes out whether you had a good month or not. The council tax bill arrives like clockwork, and the Ofgem energy price cap for a typical household now sits at £1,663 a year, capping the unit rate, not your total bill, so a cold winter simply costs you more. The tragedy of the survival zone is that it's expensive to be here. You can't buy in bulk. You can't fix the small problem before it becomes the big one. Every pound is already spoken for before it arrives. Level 2. The £20,000 milestone, the buffer zone. Now, something changes, and it changes more than most people expect. £20,000 is a genuinely magic number in Britain. Partly that's symbolic. It's the exact figure of the annual ISA allowance, the maximum you can shelter from HMRC tax-free in a single year. But mostly, it's psychological, because at £20,000, your brain flips from reactive to proactive. Below this line, you live at the mercy of events. Above it, events start living at the mercy of you. The boiler packs in, you don't spiral, you just pay the plumber. The car needs new tyres. Annoying, but it's a Tuesday, not a crisis. You've bought yourself the single most valuable thing money offers at this stage: a good night's sleep. Now, a quick note: if you're building this buffer inside a cash ISA, from the 6th of April, 2027, the cash ISA limit for those under 65 is being cut to £12,000, with the rest of your allowance pushed toward investments. So the rules of the game are shifting under your feet, and the buffer zone is where you start paying attention to them. Level 3, £300,000, the median trap. Welcome to the middle, and welcome to the strangest feeling in British personal finance. £300,000 is, almost exactly, the typical UK household. The Office for National Statistics puts median household net worth at £293,700. On paper, you have arrived. You are, statistically, Mr. and Mrs. Average. So why does it still feel so tight? Because most of that wealth isn't wealth you can touch. It's paper wealth, locked away in 2 places: the equity in your home and a modest employer pension you can't access for decades. You might own a house worth £500,000 and still feel your shoulders tense at the weekly Tesco run. This is the wealthy but broke paradox. Your net worth statement looks respectable, your current account does not. You are asset rich and cash poor, living in a home you couldn't afford to buy today, quietly wondering where all the money actually went. It went into the bricks and into the pension, and it's staying there. Level 4, £1 million, the ISA and SIP elite. This is the level where the machine finally starts running itself. At £1 million, something quiet but powerful happens. Compounding takes over the heavy lifting. Your money, sensibly invested across your ISA and your SIP, now generates returns large enough that in a decent year, your portfolio earns more than you could save from your salary. You've stopped pushing the boulder. The boulder is now rolling downhill on its own. For context, this puts you comfortably inside the wealthiest 10% of British households, the group holding £1,200,500 or more. And life here is defined by one word: Options. The option of private healthcare, so you never wait months in pain. The option of private schooling for the children, even now that VAT has been added to the fees. And perhaps the most underrated luxury of all, the option to say no. No to the toxic boss. No to the job that's grinding you down. You have enough of a runway to walk away and land softly. Level 5. £5 million and beyond. The choice zone. At £5 million, money stops being a factor in your daily decisions entirely. You no longer glance at the price on a menu. You don't think twice about a flight, a hotel, or a repair. But here's what the outside world gets wrong. This level is not about louder spending. It's about deeper quiet. The great luxuries at the top are anonymity and time. Nobody at the school gates knows what you're worth, and you'd never dream of telling them. Your calendar belongs to you. This is the transition from quiet luxury, where the wealth is discreet, but you still work, to total freedom, where your time is genuinely, completely your own. Money has done its job. It has bought back your life. Now, here's the cruel twist that catches almost everyone. You'd assume happiness climbs neatly with every level. It doesn't. In fact, a person at level 4, sitting on £1 million, often feels poorer than the person back at level 2 with their £20,000 buffer. Why? Because the level 2 saver is comparing themselves to the survival zone they just escaped. They feel rich. Meanwhile, the level 4 millionaire has stopped looking down. They're looking up, at level 5, at the yacht in the marina and the friend who sold their business. And against that yardstick, £1 million can feel like nothing at all. Your net worth grew, your reference point grew faster. That is the whole trap in a single sentence. Here's the good news hidden inside that trap. Because it's built in your head, you can dismantle it in your head too. The wealthiest people worth learning from all share one quiet habit. They deliberately choose their reference point. Instead of forever measuring upward at the yacht in the marina, they occasionally glance back down the ladder to the version of themselves who once put an item back on the Tesco shelf. That single act of remembering resets the entire equation, and it costs nothing. It requires no ISA, no SIP, no 7-figure portfolio. It's the reason two people with an identical net worth can live completely different lives, one anxious, one at peace, separated only by the direction they choose to look. So, what does all of this actually tell us? That net worth in Britain was never really about the number, and it was never about status. It's about the gap between what your life genuinely needs and the resources you have to meet those needs. A person needing very little, with resources that quietly cover it, is free at £300,000. A person drowning in wants can feel poor at 5 million. The wealth isn't in the pot, it's in the distance between the pot and your appetite. So here's the definition worth keeping. You are truly wealthy the moment your resources outpace your ego. Close that gap, and you don't need to reach the top of this ladder at all. You are free the whole way up. If you learned something, make sure to like and hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.